standing up.
Hi everybody, this is Jim Aikin, and in this final installment of this month's video tutorial, we're going to take our starter patch here and we're going to add a second synthesizer voice to it in order to provide a little more musical interest. Now, the modules down here, if you've watched the other videos, you'll know that these are the synthesizer voice. One way to do this would be to simply right-click on each of them and say duplicate, and then drag it into a position like that. We could do this again. We could say duplicate and drag it down. That's a lot of extra work, so I'm going to hit Control-Z a couple of times. And we're going to instead use the strip module from StoreMelder. The first thing you want to do is make sure that all of the modules in the voice are touching one another along here, that there are no gaps. If there are gaps, if you get something like this, it's not going to work the way you expect it to. And the next thing you need to do, perhaps, is to click this button a couple of times until the button on the right glows green. That tells us that Strip is going to make a copy of all of the modules that are touching here. So we right-click in a vacant area of Strip, and we choose Copy. And then we right-click and say Duplicate, and we have another strip that's identical to the first, including the stored material. So we'll move it over here, and we'll right-click, and we'll say Paste. You can't see the word paste. It's below the edge of your screen, but there it is. Now we have a whole bunch of modules here. Unfortunately, they won't do anything yet because there are no inputs or outputs to our new synthesizer voice. So I'm going to scroll up a little bit. The video is going to get a little jerky here because I want you to be able to see the jacks. Okay. The first thing we need to do is we need to take the volt per octave jack coming from the second output of the step sequencer and attach it to the volt per octave input of our VCO. And then just as these two patch cords go to the gates of these two ADSRs, we're going to take the gate output here and we're going to attach it to the gate input of this one and the gate input of this one. And the third thing we need to do is we need to take the output of the VCA. You can see the output of the first VCA is going up to the mixer, so we're going to have the output of the second VCA go to the second channel of the mixer, and maybe we'll turn the pan pot a little bit here. Now, if I play it at this point, you won't hear the second voice doing anything. Why? Because this sequencer is set up so that the bottom row of output jacks plays only the lowest note in any stack. We'll scroll back down here so you can see that. And at the moment, there's at most only one note per vertical column. So let's add a couple more. Well, I didn't like. There we go. That's better. So now we have a two-voice pattern, and it's pretty. But the two voices are identical because, of course, we did a copy-paste. So maybe we want to make the sound a little bit more interesting by tinkering with one of the voices so that we'll get a slightly different tone from each of them. So while we're running it, I'm going to mess with the filter and ADSR settings. I don't even know how I'm going to do it yet. Let's just play around and see what happens. So there you go. In a nutshell, that is how sounds are made in any synthesizer, let alone VCV rack. This opening column for Synth and Software has been kind of an overview and kind of a way to get you going quickly and get you interested in what you can do with this. In future months, we will get very nuts and bolts, and we will talk about the specific features of certain types of modules. So next month, you can look forward to an in-depth analysis of the VCO1 module and other analog type modules. So I will see you then.